And also happening in Kalihi, a tangled mess of power lines at the intersection of Kalihi and Colburn Streets. It appears heavy machinery on a flatbed trailer caught the lines, pulling some of them down to the roadway. Honolulu police are at the scene right now directing traffic. We'll keep you posted of any new developments. Let's take you live now to Kilauea, where episode 22 is underway and it's explosive. This latest eruption began at 4:40 this morning, but then the lava fountains kicked in at around 5:15, some almost 500 feet high. USGS scientists say about 30 to 40% of Halemaumau has been covered with lava flows.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? The breezy trade winds will continue going through the weekend. We'll have those passing showers from time to time, mainly in the early morning and overnight hours. Stray showers are likely through the day as well, mostly favoring windward sides. We're not talking about a lot of rain. Plus, with those winds blowing in brisk and breezy, whatever rain comes in will be moving out quickly. And also because of those breezy winds, the biggest surf continues to roll into the east shore, but conditions will be rough and choppy.
Thanks, Guy. A day after NOAA forecasters said the Central Pacific could see 1 to 4 tropical cyclones this hurricane season, FEMA officials say they aren't prepared for upcoming storms and the damage they will bring. That's according to an internal agency review obtained by CNN. The document says the agency is struggling with minimal coordination with states and new red tape that it says will slow emergency responses. It also notes low morale and agency mission uncertainty. The Trump administration has repeatedly called FEMA ineffective and unnecessary. So far, the agency lost about 30% of its full-time staff due to layoffs and employee buyouts. Meanwhile, with hurricane season starting on June 1st, we want to help you prepare with our 2025 First Alert Hurricane Season Special Report. You can watch it June 3rd at 6:30 p.m. right here on KGMB. A hotel on Maui's North Shore faces a federal lawsuit over alleged sexual harassment against young female employees dating back as far as 2015. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission filed the lawsuit against the Paia Inn yesterday. The federal agency claims the owner of the hotel inappropriately touched and made offensive comments to several young women and fired anyone who complained or tried to address the harassment. On Oahu, the search is on for suspects wanted for a car theft which led to a hit-and-run crash in the McCully area. It happened just before 11:30 yesterday morning at the intersection of McCully and Citron Streets. Police say the 62-year-old victim was crossing McCully in a marked crosswalk. Now, he was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries, but thankfully we're told now that he is improving. He is now considered to be in good condition. The suspects, meanwhile, drove away from the crash scene and have not yet been identified. If you have any information that might help crack this case, please call the number on your screen. A swimmer who jumped 50 feet into the water at Spitting Caves in East Oahu was saved by a friend who threw a rescue tube to him. Now, the flotation device was strategically placed at the notorious cliff just last year. Lifeguards eventually brought the 20-year-old man to shore at Mauna Lua Bay, where he declined medical treatment. Memorial services will begin this weekend for a respected figure in Hawaii's Ali'i lineage. Prince David Kawananakoa died earlier this month in Honolulu at the age of 73. Tonight, his body will be transported in a ceremonial procession to Iolani Palace, where he will lie in state. Entry into the palace is not permitted, and the grounds closed to the public at 6 p.m. A public funeral service is scheduled for Saturday morning at 9 at Waikiki's St. Augustine by the Sea Catholic Church. To Louisiana, where 10 inmates, including several murder suspects, escaped from a New Orleans jail after breaching a wall behind a toilet. Authorities believe they may have had help from people within the department. And after breaching the wall at the Orleans Justice Center in New Orleans, the inmates left through a door used to bring in supplies at around 1 a.m., scaled a wall, and ran across the interstate. Now, the escape wasn't discovered until hours later at 8:30 a.m. when staff noticed them missing during a routine head count. One of the inmates was captured by deputies. President Trump is making his way back to Washington after 4 days of diplomacy, deals, and dinners in the Middle East. Meanwhile, his hopes to bring an end to 2 major world conflicts hit some bumps. Melanie Zanona has the details from Washington.
President Trump is returning home from the Middle East, capping off 4 days of business dealings and diplomacy.
It's been a tremendous time, and now it's time to go back home.
The president touting an agreement with the United Arab Emirates to build a massive data center in that country. American companies will operate the center and offer American-managed cloud services. Mr. Trump also saying the U.S. offered Iran a formal proposal for a nuclear deal.
They know they have to move quickly. Something bad's going to happen.
The trip, though, not without controversy. Republicans and Democrats alike are concerned the president's plan to accept Qatar's gift of a $400 million luxury jet as the next Air Force One. And while the president says deals made will benefit the country, they could also benefit the Trump Organization, which has big real estate deals in the region. And Trump's new cryptocurrency company is now backed by companies based in the Middle East. The president shrugging off concerns.
I really don't know anything about it, but I'm a big crypto fan.
With his role as a deal maker solidified, the role of peacemaker more elusive. His promise of ending 2 conflicts not panning out. In Turkey, talks to end the war between Ukraine and Russia stalled. Though Secretary of State Marco Rubio met with contingencies from both countries, neither leader's at the table. Though Ukrainian President Zelensky was in country, Russian leader Putin was not.
We're going to get it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done.
And Israel ramping up airstrikes on Gaza, killing hundreds in the past few days. President Trump sounding sympathetic to Palestinians.
A lot of people are starving on Gaza, so we have to look at both sides.
And back home, President Trump facing a big battle over his big, beautiful budget bill. Conservative hardliners joining all House Democrats in blocking the package in committee, with hardliners seeking steeper cuts to Medicaid and clean energy tax breaks. But lawmakers vowing to work through the weekend and will be back at it next week. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
New video obtained by CBS News takes us inside the troubled air traffic control center handling flights at Newark Airport. At the moment, computer screens recently went black. Chris Van Cleve has more.
CBS News has obtained this exclusive video. It was shot last Friday morning during the 90-second system outage that left controllers' screens blank, unable to track planes or communicate with pilots around Newark Airport. You can see the screens controllers rely on are nothing but black.
FedEx 1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff.
The video also shows the moment when most of the air traffic control facility's screens came back up. This outage happened at a particularly slow time for flights around Newark Airport. But on April 28th, a similar outage at the same Philadelphia area facility hit during the middle of the day. It also left controllers unable to communicate, and their screens also briefly went dark. About a half dozen controllers sought trauma leave after that incident. The ongoing staffing shortage has resulted in thousands of cancellations and delays. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy on Capitol Hill Thursday.
I believe the system is safe. There are multiple redundancies throughout the system that keep people safe, even the frustrations in Newark. When we've slowed traffic down, the key is not efficiency, the key is safety.
91612, number center, hello?
And CBS News has learned another communications outage hit this Denver area air traffic control facility Monday.
The controller recovered via the emergency procedures that they have, and I believe it was down for approximately 2 minutes.
The FAA says the Colorado outage did not endanger any aircraft and did not result in any delayed flights. The work to fix the problems at that Philadelphia facility is ongoing, while Department of Transportation officials are again meeting with the nation's airlines today to discuss reducing delays at Newark. That likely means cutting flights ahead of the busy summer travel season. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Phoenix.
President Trump's budget bill hits a major setback in the House. I'm Erica Brown on Capitol Hill with more on the demands from Republicans who blocked the legislation.
Plus, federal funding cuts at the University of Hawaii are much deeper than expected. The legal action being planned against the Trump administration. Congressional Republicans are trying to move forward with President Trump's budget bill, but members of their own party are threatening to block the legislation. Erica Brown has more from Capitol Hill.
President Trump's budget package, which he calls one big beautiful bill, hit a major setback Friday in the Republican-controlled House Budget Committee.
Mr. Chair, on the vote, there were 16 ayes and 21 noes.
5 Republicans joined Democrats in voting against advancing the bill out of the committee. Several hardline conservatives walked out during the proceedings, trying to force a recess that would buy time to negotiate. The GOP holdouts say the bill doesn't go far enough to cut federal spending in order to rein in the deficit.
Everything in Washington, D.C., you've got your lobbyists, you've got your special interests. It's money. I mean, I've had everybody call me. It's money. I get that. But it's money we don't have to spend. It's not that difficult.
Republican leaders plan to continue negotiations through the weekend, but with every concession to conservative demands, they risk losing support from moderates. The bill is central to President Trump's economic agenda. It includes trillions of dollars in tax cuts, with spending boosts for the U.S. military and border security, partly paid for by steep cuts to federal health, education, and environmental programs.
The president's been following all this very closely. I know he's coming back from a foreign trip, so he's going to be actively engaged, as he has the whole way through this process.
Speaker Mike Johnson says he wants to pass the bill out of the House before Memorial Day. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, deeper than expected cuts are coming to the University of Hawaii. The president announced nearly $73 million in cuts in federal grants from the Trump administration. Now, that's more than double the $30 million previously announced. The news was broke at a Board of Regents meeting where UH President Wendy Hensel said 76 grants were eliminated, terminated, or received stop work orders. 65 grants were fully terminated and 69 employees were impacted.
Together, these cuts and policy changes represent, as I've said before, quite a significant threat to federal funded research, and it is obviously of concern.
Now, Hensel says if proposed federal budget cuts of 55% to the National Science Foundation and 40% to the National Institutes of Health are passed, it could impact UH's research. Meanwhile, expect traffic delays tomorrow near UH Manoa. Graduation ceremonies are expected to clog the H1, Dole Street, University Avenue, and other roads leading to campus. There are 2 events, one at 9 a.m., the other at 3:30 p.m., and both will be streamed online. We posted a link to that on our website. More than 2,500 students will receive their degrees. 5-time world surfing champ and Olympic gold medalist Carissa Moore is the keynote speaker. Well, let's take a live look outside with our tower cam. It's a beautiful Aloha Friday. There are some showers there across the state. Guy's going to have your full forecast in 2 minutes.
First Alert Weather with Guy Hug.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? The breezy, semi-soggy trading weather will continue. You can see there's a fair bit of upstream clouds, and there are showers embedded in those clouds. But with the winds blowing brisk and breezy, all these showers that are coming in will also be moving out very quickly, favoring windward sides, occasionally drifting over to leeward sides. Rainfall totals will be light to moderate at best. And as far as the winds, they'll be running pretty swift from Maui to Kauai. Lighter winds, of course, over in Kailua Kona, but in the Kohala area, the winds could be just as strong as they are for the rest of the state. So it's going to be a nice Friday all told, right? There will be those showers coming through from time to time. Make no mistake about it. Windward sides might even get a brief downpour or two. We're still expecting a fair bit of sunshine for leeward areas, but those winds running at 15 to 20 miles an hour means the air quality will be good, except for the Kona side of Hawaii Island. And the surf's going to be relatively small, but because of those breezy winds, still going to be elevated on the east shores, although conditions there will be rough and choppy. And this is what we expect through the weekend. Really not a whole lot of surf to speak of. Now, the weather's going to be pretty nice. Granted, there will be passing showers from time to time. Still expecting a fair bit of sunshine through the next couple days as well. And then drier conditions move in probably on Sunday as the winds ease up. But not to worry, the winds come bouncing back on Monday.
Thank you, Guy. A historic journey interrupted by the Maui wildfires is about to resume. Ben Gutierrez shows us how the Hokulea is once again preparing for its worldwide voyage.
It's been a year and a half since Hokulea paused its Moana Nui Akea worldwide voyage. Crew members are definitely ready to set sail again.
Here we're in the last stages of loading all the food and the water and supplies that will take Hokulea and her crew from here to Hilo and then onward to Papeete.
Dozens of containers to hold hundreds of gallons of fresh water, cooking supplies, and more. Enough for Hokulea's roughly 2,000-mile journey to Tahiti.
Tahiti is obviously very special. It's a very historical journey, an ancestral journey, and so we look forward to celebrating with the Ohana down there, who are very excited to see us. We are very excited to see them.
Tahiti was Hokulea's first destination shortly after it launched in 1975, steered only by navigation techniques from ancient Polynesians.
It's a very intentional voyage with skill and thought and engineering that was really, doubted, I think, in the time.
As we're sailing in the middle of the ocean, we're always thinking like, wow, this is how our ancestors have been doing it for thousands of years.
Hokulea began her Moana Nui Akea voyage in 2023, starting in Alaska and down the west coast of North America. But she returned home after the Lahaina wildfire and toured the Hawaiian Islands. And in March, huge celebrations were held to mark the 50th anniversary of her launching. Kalea Wong will be the captain and navigator for the first leg of the journey to Hilo.
Canoes were going through Alaska and America and now be able to restart and start here from Hawaii through our channels. It's going to be incredible.
From Hilo, Hokulea will sail to Tahiti on the voyage that will eventually take it to Aotearoa and Micronesia through next year, and the Philippines, Japan, and Korea. Hokulea will then be shipped back to the U.S. West Coast, travel down Central and South America, back to Tahiti, and return to Hawaii in 2028.
We feel it's bringing Hawaii everywhere we go, and so we hope that you will come with us and hear and learn and experience over the next few years.
Hokulea and Hikianalia are scheduled to set sail on Sunday, weather permitting. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Ben. Still to come, how a husband is fulfilling his late wife's wish of going to space. That's coming up in today's Good News Now. Plus, we want to honor the class of 2025. You can upload a non-professional photo of your grad on our website, and you may see it on Hawaii News Now. Be sure to include your senior's name and school. We'll be right back. Some good news now. An incredible story of survival. A missing hiker was found alive after nearly 3 weeks in the California wilderness. 28-year-old Tiffany Slayton of Georgia started hiking the Sierra Nevada mountains on Easter for what was originally supposed to be a 3-day trip. She got lost and at one point was hit by an avalanche, suffering injuries to both legs. Now, Slayton, a nutritionist and a trained archer, put one leg in a splint, managed to walk on, and foraged food as she went. Eventually, she stumbled onto a cabin in the middle of another snowstorm, and the owner found her only after snowplows cleared the road.
When I first came across it, it was a pristine Christmas tree and a tiny house, and it had markers like Santa's sleigh, and I could not understand. I actually thought I was losing my mind at that point, that I had somehow managed to make it to the North Pole.
Now, if you're wondering, Slayton is wearing sunglasses because the sun's reflection off the snow did possibly damage her eyes. She was found just hours before her 28th birthday. Well, a California woman will have an out-of-the-world experience in her afterlife. Her husband is sending her ashes into space, and she won't be going alone. Ashley Sharp has more.
Well, welcome.
Before we even sat down with Buzz Jones,
I don't want to be rude.
He introduced us to Connie.
This is Connie, and this is Ashley. They're from CBS, dear. Your favorite.
His sweetheart on the shelf. In black and white.
Yeah, she was so bright and so smart.
His wife of 30 years.
She was a prolific reader, and she liked science fiction. You know, she'd tell me all sorts of things about Star Trek. She had a lot of the old memorabilia from Star Trek.
A fascination with the cosmos, a woman with her head in the clouds.
It makes me proud.
Before Connie passed of cancer, her dying wish was to take a trip to outer space. In her final moments, Buzz made a promise.
Connie, I've researched it. I'm sending you up. And she just she smiled. Couldn't say much.
The company, Celestis Inc., will launch its 24th memorial spaceflight this summer, when remains of lost loved ones get the send-off of a lifetime.
It's a lot like scattering ashes at sea or something like that, only we appeal to people that have always wanted to travel in space.
The mission behind the mission is embracing eternity with a bang.
There's this moment of joy and transformation at liftoff that's hard to put into words.
Her remains are going to go up and be one with time.
And Connie won't enter orbit alone. Her Cocker Spaniel,
this is Casey,
who died 2 decades ago, will accompany her for one final walk among the stars.
I did it for you, dear. So.
Ashley Sharp reporting. Well, we want to take you back outside for another live look at Kilauea just going off. This is episode 22 of the eruption. And again, you can see the visibility kind of poor out there with the fog. You can also see some debris flying in the air, so be careful if you do plan to visit the eruption. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you have a happy Aloha Friday and a great weekend. We have more news first at 4 right here on KCHNL.